Remakes. Remakes seem to be everywhere these days. Sometimes it seems like there are no original ideas left in the world, with every form of narrative-based, cash-grabbing entertainment being made into sequel after sequel, remake after remake. Movies, television series, video games. Why do we keep buying this stuff? Of course, remakes are nothing new. Literally. But you know what is a recent trend? Scripted narrative television formatting. What is scripted narrative television formatting, you might ask? Well, it's when the same TV series is remade for a different audience or demographic. Nowadays, almost every popular television show has several different remakes in other languages and cultural settings. Take, for example, Jane the Virgin.
Our story begins 13 and a half years ago, when Jane Gloriana Villanueva was a mere 10 years old. It should be noted that at a mere 10 years old, Jane's passions include, in no particular order, her family, God, and grilled cheese sandwiches.
Mira la flor que tienes en tu mano, Jane.
This is Jane's grandmother, Alba Gloriana Villanueva. Her passions include God and Jane, in that particular order.
Chances are, if you are watching this video, then you're aware that Jane the Virgin is actually a remake of the Venezuelan telenovela titled Juana la Virgen.
Van a llegar tarde al liceo, par de flojas.
¿Cómo que vamos a llegar? ¿Cómo que vamos a llegar tarde? ¿Quién dijo? Mamá. 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 Tú apagaste el despertador cuando llegaste, ¿verdad? ¿Tú
Ya
llegaste
deberían
tarde?
estar desayunadas y encaminadas en lo que es.
¿Por qué agua? Ay, cónchale. Mamá. Mamá. Mamá, levántate que vamos a llegar tarde, mamá.
But did you know that Jane the Virgin was not the first remake of Juana la Virgen? Instead, the first was made in 2010 in Poland under the title Majka.
W miejsce brzyduli wprowadza się Majka. Nowy serial od poniedziałku 4 stycznia w TVN, a już we wtorek 22 grudnia pilotowy odcinek Majki po ostatnim odcinku Brzyduli.
And did you know that in 2013 it was remade in Venezuela again under the title La Virgen de la Calle? What would motivate a company to remake the same series so many times? And why does this happen so often? For this, you can thank scripted TV formatting. You see, it is not the same company making each new version, but rather it is the original creator selling the rights to a company in a different country in a package called a format. Formats are like a rundown of everything one needs to know when making an exact replica of a television series. Originally, US advertising companies would make formats of their game and quiz shows so that a company could make an exact copy in a different locale or language with the same amount of success. Starting in the 1980s, reality television shows also took advantage of formats to produce some of the most successful television series of all time. Formats were sometimes preferred over simply re-airing an existing show because of the level of perfection and tried-and-true consistency that came with these formats. More recently, in the early 2000s, scripted shows began finding success in formats, thus the creation of shows like Jane the Virgin and Majka. While they weren't always as consistent as their unscripted counterparts, scripted narrative TV format programs found much success when US-based video-on-demand companies like Netflix and Hulu were desperate for original content, and they looked toward other parts of the world for inspiration. So now that you know about formatting, you can see why the narratives of Jane and Juana are so different, because they wanted to appeal to different audiences. For example, Jane comes from a devout Christian family and made a promise to her grandmother when she was 10 to stay a virgin until marriage.
Así es. Nunca puedes volver atrás. Y eso es lo que sucede cuando pierdes tu virginidad.
She has a boyfriend that she really loves and plans to marry him until things get complicated when a gynecologist accidentally inseminates Jane.
I remember you're covering for Dr. Peters. You have an insemination in 7, then a pap in 8.
Yeah, an insemination and a pap. I got it.
Should I...
Nice to meet you, Miss Villanueva. Are you ready for your insemination?
Hi, yes. I'm sorry, I'm a little tired.
Planting a seed which came from Jane's rich, physically attractive boss. Juana, on the other hand, has no religious affiliation and just wants to stay a virgin on her own terms. She does not have a boyfriend, but she earned a soccer scholarship to study at UCLA, which her mom is not happy about. She is fertilized mistakenly with the sperm of a random magazine journalist, and things get complicated. Obviously, Jane the Virgin is more of a comedy than a melodrama, which is to be expected when trying to appeal to an American audience. This flexibility is why formatting works so well. It allows the creators to fit the narrative exactly to the demands of their own market. So, next time you find out that your favorite television show is actually just a remake from another country, know that it wasn't just a scheme to make a quick buck, but rather it was the result of a process which allowed you to relate so well to the characters in the show. Otherwise, without formatting, you wouldn't like that show nearly as much.